thousands of years, shaping the rise and fall of entire civilizations. A story about the future of humanity, the power of knowledge, and the battle against fate itself. This is the Foundation trilogy, written by the legendary Isaac Asimov, a man whose mind shaped modern science fiction as we know it. Born in 1920, Asimov was a biochemist by training, but it was his writing that changed the world. He wasn't just a sci-fi writer, he was a visionary. He gave us the 3 laws of robotics, he expanded on the mystery genre in sci-fi, and most importantly, he created the Foundation series, one of the most influential works in the history of science fiction. Now, let's dive into the story. What is Foundation all about? Well, it begins not with heroes or wars, but with a mathematician and a bold plan to save the future. The story is set far in the future, in a galaxy ruled by the mighty Galactic Empire. For 12,000 years it has been the center of civilization, governing millions of worlds. But beneath its surface, the Empire is rotting, corrupt, bloated, and on the verge of collapse. Enter Hari Seldon, a genius mathematician who has developed psychohistory, a revolutionary science that can predict the future of large populations. And the future? It's grim. Seldon's calculations show that within 300 years the Empire will fall, leading to 30,000 years of darkness, war, and suffering. But Seldon has a plan. He can't stop the fall of the Empire, but he can shorten the Dark Age, from 30,000 years down to just 1,000. His idea? The Foundation. Seldon convinces the Imperial government to let him create a colony on a remote planet called Terminus at the edge of the galaxy. The official reason? To compile all human knowledge into the Encyclopedia Galactica, a grand project to preserve civilization's achievements. But in reality, the Encyclopedia Galactica is just a cover. Seldon's real plan is much deeper. He knows that a small, strategically guided civilization can eventually become the foundation for a new galactic empire. As the empire weakens, neighboring warlords, former imperial governors, start eyeing Terminus. The Foundation is weak with no military power. But then, something incredible happens. The Seldon Vault, a chamber left behind by Hari Seldon, opens. His pre-recorded hologram appears and delivers a message. By now, you've realized that the encyclopedia was never the true purpose of the Foundation. Your survival depends not on military strength, but on superior knowledge. Use it, and that's exactly what they do. The Foundation uses its scientific advancements to become indispensable to its neighbors. They provide nuclear power, medicine, and technology. But with a catch. They create a scientific religion where only Foundation priests can operate this technology. The warlords, believing it to be divine, submit to the Foundation's influence. Through brains instead of brute force, the Foundation conquers without fighting. Seldon's plan is working. Now, let's fast forward a few decades. The Foundation isn't just surviving, it's thriving. It has expanded across multiple star systems, controlling vast regions of space through its economic and technological dominance. But there's a problem. The Galactic Empire still exists, and even though it's crumbling, it's not gone yet. A powerful Imperial General, Bel Rios, decides that the Foundation has become too powerful. He launches a full-scale invasion. This should be the end of the Foundation. After all, how can a tiny colony fight an empire? But there's one thing Bel Rios doesn't know. He's fighting history itself. Psychohistory predicted that the Empire, in its dying years, would be too corrupt to sustain a war effort. And just like that, Rios's war ends not in battle, but in betrayal. Imperial politics intervene and Rios is recalled to the capital and executed. The Empire collapses a little more, and the Foundation gains even more power. But then, something unexpected happens. Psychohistory is designed to predict large-scale social movements. But what about individuals? What if just one person was powerful enough to disrupt history? Meet the Mule. The Mule is a mutant with an ability no one saw coming. He can control emotions. With just his mind, he can turn enemies into allies, and his charisma is unstoppable. He builds a vast army and in record time conquers the Foundation. This wasn't supposed to happen. Seldon's plan never accounted for a single, unpredictable variable. The Foundation is doomed. But Seldon had a backup plan. Before his death, he created a second foundation, a hidden organization made up of the galaxy's best minds, trained in mental sciences. Their mission? To secretly guide the course of history. The mule, knowing they exist, starts hunting for them. He fears them, because while he can control emotions, the second foundation can control thoughts. The mule's search is relentless, but he never finds them. Instead, they find him. Using their advanced mental abilities, they reverse his influence, weakening him and restoring balance to Seldon's plan. The mule, once the most powerful being in the galaxy, dies in obscurity. With the threat neutralized, the second foundation erases all knowledge of its existence and goes back into hiding, waiting for the next moment when history needs a push. The Foundation trilogy is more than just a sci-fi series. It's a blueprint for thinking about the future. It asks, can history be predicted? Is knowledge more powerful than war? Can individuals change the course of destiny? This series influenced countless sci-fi stories, from Star Wars to Dune to The Expanse. It's often called the greatest science fiction series of all time. And today, it's still alive. Apple TV Plus released a Foundation TV series in 2021, reimagining Asimov's vision for a new generation. So, if you haven't read Foundation yet, what are you waiting for? The future is waiting.
Imagine a story so ambitious that it spans thousands of years, where the fate of an entire galaxy rests on a secret plan crafted by a genius long dead. A story about civilization, knowledge, and the battle for the future. This is Foundation's Edge, Isaac Asimov's long-awaited sequel to the original Foundation trilogy, published in 1982, nearly 30 years after the original books. But this time, Asimov does something different. He expands the story beyond just the Foundation and the Second Foundation, introducing new mysteries, a hidden world, and the search for Earth itself. So, let's dive in and uncover the story of Foundation's Edge, a book that reshaped the Foundation saga forever. Before we jump into Foundation's Edge, let's take a quick look at where things stand in the Foundation universe. The once mighty galactic empire is gone, its rule shattered. The first Foundation, created by Hari Seldon, now controls much of the galaxy, using technology and economic power to dominate. The Second Foundation, a secretive organization of powerful mentalists, those who can influence thoughts, has been working in the shadows to ensure that Seldon's plan stays on track. But here's the catch. The First Foundation thinks it has destroyed the Second Foundation. And the Second Foundation? They're perfectly fine with letting everyone believe that. Both factions believe they are guiding the future, but what if there's a third force in play? Our protagonist is Golan Trevise, a young, outspoken member of the First Foundation's government on Terminus. He's sharp, confident, and deeply skeptical. One day, Trevise makes a dangerous accusation. He suspects that the Second Foundation is still out there, secretly manipulating the galaxy. The government of the First Foundation doesn't like this kind of talk, so what do? They arrest him, but instead of executing or imprisoning him, they send him on a mission. Trevise is given a spaceship, along with Janov Pellerat, a historian obsessed with one of the greatest mysteries in the galaxy, the lost planet of Earth. The government's real hope? That Trevise will uncover the truth and expose the Second Foundation, if they even exist. Trevise exists in a monastery. Earth actually exists. So, Apson expats. Meanwhile, over on Trantor, the home of the hidden Second Foundation, another crisis is unfolding. Stor Gendable, a rising star among the Second Foundation's mentalics, begins to suspect that something is wrong. The Second Foundation has always thought they were the secret rulers of destiny, but Gendable notices that events in the galaxy are moving too smoothly, almost too perfectly. He begins to suspect that someone else, some unknown force, is shaping history. To investigate, Gendable sets off on his own mission, tracking Trevise and his journey. But what neither Trevise nor Gendable knows is that they're about to stumble upon something far bigger than the Foundation, or even Hari Seldon's plan. Trevise and Pellerat's journey takes them to a hidden planet called Gaia, a world unlike any other. Gaia isn't just inhabited, It's alive. Everything on Gaia, humans, animals, even the environment itself, is part of a collective superconsciousness. Every living thing on the planet is mentally linked, functioning as a single, harmonious entity. And Gaia has a secret. They have been guiding history, subtly shaping the events of the galaxy in ways that neither the first foundation nor the second foundation ever realized. They are neither rulers nor conquerors. They are caretakers, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. And now, with Trevis standing before them, that moment has arrived. Gaia presents Trevis with a monumental decision. 3 possible futures lie ahead. 1. First Foundation rule, a galaxy ruled by logic, technology, and human ambition. 2. Second Foundation rule, a galaxy secretly controlled by mentalics, ensuring stability but at the cost of true freedom. 3. Galaxia, a bold new idea proposed by Gaia, a future where the entire galaxy becomes one vast collective consciousness, just like Gaia itself. Trevis, despite all his confidence, realizes something terrifying. He has no special knowledge, no hidden wisdom, no powers, yet he is forced to make a decision that will shape the destiny of trillions of people. After deep contemplation, Trevis makes his choice. He chooses Galaxia. He believes that in the long run, a connected galaxy, a single unified intelligence will prevent war, destruction, and suffering. And so the seeds of a new future are planted. But the question remains, did Trevis make the right choice? Foundation's Edge was a turning point for the series. For decades, the Foundation was a battle between 2 forces, technology versus psychology, science versus mentalics. But now there's a third option, something beyond Seldon's original plan. Isaac Asimov took a bold step, expanding his universe beyond what anyone expected. He introduced the concept of Galaxia, an idea that predates later sci-fi like Star Trek's Borg or The Expanse's protomolecule, a more philosophical take on the nature of consciousness and free will, a shift from the old Foundation versus Empire story into a bigger cosmic mystery. And the influence of this book? Huge. Foundation's Edge set the stage for Asimov's later works, including Foundation and Earth, which takes Trevis's story even further. So, what does Foundation's Edge teach us? That history isn't just about logic or control. It's about evolution. The future isn't fixed. It's shaped by new ideas, unexpected forces, and sometimes by one person's decision. What do you think? Did Trevis make the right choice? Should the galaxy remain a free collection of planets, or should it evolve into one superconscious entity? Let us know in the comments. And if you love deep sci-fi dives, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more sci-fi explorations. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop reaching for the stars. Foundation's Edge holds significant turning point importance in Asimov's body of work. It is not only a continuation of the Foundation series, but also a crucial step in Asimov's attempt to integrate his multiple science fiction universes. Following this work, Asimov went on to write Foundation and Earth, Prelude to Foundation, and Forward the Foundation, further expanding the worldview of the entire series. Moreover, Foundation's Edge has become a classic in science fiction literature due to its profound philosophical reflections and complex narrative structure, exerting a far-reaching influence on later science fiction writers and works.
What if the key to humanity's future lay hidden in its past? What if the greatest mystery of all wasn't the fate of the first Foundation, or the second Foundation, or even Galaxia, but something much older? Something lost? In 1986, Isaac Asimov published Foundation and Earth, the final novel in his legendary Foundation series. This book isn't just a sequel, it's the culmination of everything Asimov built over decades. It's a galactic road trip, a search for the lost origins of humanity, and a book that finally connects Asimov's robot, Empire, and Foundation stories into one grand vision. So, let's dive deep into Foundation and Earth, a book about identity, destiny, and the search for home. Before we jump into Foundation and Earth, let's set the stage. At the end of Foundation's Edge, Golan Trevius, a former politician and skeptic, was forced to make the most important decision in galactic history. He had three choices. Let the first foundation rule the galaxy through science and technology. Let the second foundation rule from the shadows, using mentalic abilities to shape history. Choose a new path. Galaxia, a unified, galaxy-wide collective consciousness. Revise, trusting his instincts, chose Galaxia. But was it the right choice? Now in Foundation and Earth, Trevise is haunted by doubt. He still doesn't know why he chose Galaxia over the other options, and so he embarks on a journey to find the only thing that might hold the answer: Earth, the original home of humanity. Trevise is joined by Janov Pelaret, the historian obsessed with ancient myths, especially the lost origins of Earth. Bliss, a woman from Gaia, who embodies the planet's collective consciousness. She is Gaia's way of keeping an eye on Trevise, ensuring he doesn't stray too far from their cause. But there's a big problem. Earth is missing. It's been erased from all official records. No one in the galaxy knows where it is. Every reference to its location has been wiped from history. The only way to find it? Follow a trail of breadcrumbs, tracing back humanity's lost origins through ancient colonies that might still remember something about Earth. Their journey takes them to several key planets, each holding a piece of the puzzle, but also danger. The first clue leads them to Comporelon, an old and bureaucratic world that claims to be one of the first human colonies. Here they meet a politician named Mun Lee Compor, who tries to arrest them the moment they arrive. Turns out their ship is considered illegal technology, but Trevise, being Trevise, talks his way out of trouble, and in return he learns something valuable. Comporelon has ancient legends about ships that left long ago for a forbidden world, a planet that might be Earth, but they need more proof, so they continue their journey. Next, they travel to Aurora, once the home of the Spacers, a long-extinct advanced human civilization that ruled before the Galactic Empire. Aurora was one of the first planets colonized by humanity, but now it's just a graveyard, an abandoned world where nature is reclaiming the ruins. They discover records of the Spacers' downfall, a civilization too dependent on robots, too afraid to change. It collapsed, leaving only legends behind, but one clue stands out. There were once robots on this planet, advanced ones, and some of them might still be out there. After a long, dangerous journey, they finally reach Earth, or what's left of it. The planet is dead, its surface is completely uninhabitable, covered in radiation. Whatever civilization once existed here was wiped out ages ago. But then, they make a discovery that changes everything. Deep beneath the surface, in a hidden chamber, they find Daniil Olival, a robot who has been guiding humanity for 20,000 years. Yes, the same Daniil Olival from Asimov's robot novels. Daniil reveals the truth. He has been secretly guiding human civilization for 20,000 years, nudging them toward the future. Trevise, who thought he made the choice of galaxy freely, now realizes something chilling. He was manipulated all along. Did he make the right choice? Or has humanity just been set on an unstoppable path to losing its individuality forever? Foundation and Earth ties together the entire Asimov universe, blending his robot, Empire, and Foundation stories into one grand vision. What do you think? Did Trevise make the right decision? Let us know in the comments. And if you love deep sci-fi dives, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more. Until next time, stay curious and keep reaching for the stars. What if humanity reached for the stars, only to find that we brought our ghosts with us? The Martian Chronicles, written by Ray Bradbury in 1950, isn't just a collection of sci-fi tales. It's a poetic and haunting reflection on human nature, colonization, and the fragile dream of a better world. Ray Bradbury was one of the greatest sci-fi writers of the 20th century. Unlike hard science fiction writers like Isaac Asimov or Arthur C. Clarke, Bradbury focused on the emotional and philosophical dimensions of his stories. He wasn't concerned with scientific accuracy. He was a poet of the future. and The Martian Chronicles is his melancholic love letter to both Mars and humanity's endless contradictions. The Martian Chronicles isn't a single novel, it's a series of interconnected short stories that tell the story of Mars colonization from the early 21st century onward. The book unfolds in three key phases: the failed attempts to land on Mars, the human colonization, and finally the downfall of both Martian and Earth civilizations. It all begins with Earth sending its first expeditions to Mars, but the Martians, telepathic beings with a rich, mysterious culture, are not easily conquered. They see these human invaders as threats or hallucinations, and the first few missions end in failure, often in eerie, unexpected ways. Then comes the wave of human settlers. At first it seems like a fresh start. Pioneers build towns, reminiscent of small American neighborhoods, while Martian culture slowly fades away. But as more humans arrive, they bring with them the very problems they hope to escape: greed, violence, and destruction. Then, in a tragic twist, Earth itself is engulfed in a devastating nuclear war, wiping out much of the civilization that once sent explorers into the stars. The humans on Mars, who initially dreamed of a fresh start, suddenly find themselves cut off from their homeworld, burdened with an overwhelming sense of loss and despair. Without the connection to Earth, their aspirations for a utopian society fade, replaced by a quiet struggle for survival. As the years pass, the few who remain adapt, their identities transforming in ways they never expected. They become the new Martians, no longer mere settlers, but inheritors of a world once alien to them, echoes of both past and future civilizations. The Martian Chronicles isn't just a book about space. It's a meditation on humanity's failures and dreams. It influenced generations of sci-fi writers and filmmakers from Star Trek to Interstellar. Bradbury didn't just tell a story about Mars, he told a story about us. Today, as figures like Elon Musk push forward with plans for Martian colonization, Bradbury's vision remains more relevant than ever. Will humanity's expansion into space be an opportunity for renewal, or will we repeat the same mistakes that led to Earth's conflicts? As SpaceX and other organizations work to make Mars a second home, The Martian Chronicles serves as both a cautionary tale and an inspiration for those who dream of the Red Planet. So, what do you think? If Elon Musk invited you to join his Mars colonization mission, would you go? Do you believe humanity can truly terraform Mars into a second Earth? Or is it destined to be another place where we repeat history? Are we ready to build a new world, or will we bring our old problems with us? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into classic sci-fi.
Today, we're diving into one of the most groundbreaking and underrated masterpieces in science fiction, The Stars, My Destination, written by Alfred Bester in 1956. This novel is often called the greatest cyberpunk book before cyberpunk even existed. It's fast-paced, violent, and deeply philosophical. A story of revenge, transformation, and human potential. But before we get into the story, let's talk about the man behind the book. Alfred Bester was born in 1913, and while he's not as widely recognized today as Asimov or Clarke, his work shaped the modern science fiction landscape in ways few writers have. In the 1940 and 50, Bester wrote for pulp sci-fi magazines, but he also worked in radio, television, and comics. He even wrote for Superman and Green Lantern. His sharp, cinematic writing style set him apart. Unlike many sci-fi writers of his era, Bester wasn't just interested in technology, he was interested in people. His stories were filled with intense emotions, psychological depth, and flawed, complex characters. Then, in 1956, he wrote The Stars, My Destination, and everything changed. The novel is set in the 25th century, in a world where humanity has colonized the solar system. But the biggest breakthrough isn't in spaceships or AI, it's in teleportation. In this future, humans have developed a skill called jaunting, the ability to teleport anywhere they can visualize. At first, only a few people can do it, but soon, the entire human race learns to jaunt. Suddenly, the world has no need for cars, planes, or even spaceships for short distances. Society is completely transformed. But even with all this power, humanity hasn't changed much. There's still war, greed, and oppression. The rich and powerful use their wealth to control the masses, and the solar system is divided between corporate warlords and powerful ruling families. And in this world, there's one man, a nobody, who is about to change everything. Meet Gully Foyle, our protagonist, or maybe our anti-hero. He's not a noble space captain, not a genius scientist, not a chosen one. He's just an ordinary man, a crude, violent, uneducated mechanic working on a spaceship called Nomad. When the story begins, Foyle has been stranded in deep space for 170 days. His ship is a wreck, and he's the only survivor. He's clinging to life, barely staying sane, when suddenly, a miracle. A passing ship, the Vorga, comes into view. He signals for help, and the Vorga just keeps going. They see him, and they leave him to die. This moment breaks him. He was just a man trying to survive, but now he has one singular purpose: revenge. With sheer rage and willpower, he repairs his ship, gets back to Earth, and starts his mission to hunt down the crew of the Vorga and make them pay. But here's where things get interesting. Foyle isn't just any man. There's something inside him, something waiting to be unlocked. Foyle's journey is one of complete transformation. At first, he's an animal, driven by pure instinct and vengeance. But as he fights his way through the system, through prisons, gang wars, high society, and brutal betrayals, he evolves. He goes from a dumb brute to a genius strategist. He learns to control his rage, his body, and even his mind. And eventually, he discovers something even greater. You see, most people can only jaunt short distances. But Foyle? He unlocks something far beyond. He gains the ability to jaunt through space itself, a power no human has ever possessed. And now, he's not just looking for revenge, he's looking for justice. The final act of the book is pure chaos. Foyle destroys everything in his path, bringing down the most powerful people in the solar system. But in the process, he realizes something. Revenge isn't enough. He's more than just a man seeking payback. He's the key to the next step in human evolution. By the end of the book, Foyle doesn't just change himself, he changes humanity itself. He gives the power of interstellar jaunting to the entire species. Overnight, humans are no longer trapped in the solar system. They can teleport to the stars. The last line of the book says it all. Stars, take me home. So why does this book matter? Why do so many sci-fi writers call it one of the greatest novels ever written? Because The Stars, My Destination was ahead of its time. It's the first true cyberpunk novel. Before William Gibson, before Blade Runner, before Neuromancer, the gritty, corporate-controlled world, the powerful, mega-rich families, the rebellious anti-he, it's all here. It's a revenge story on a cosmic scale, blending the themes of The Count of Monte Cristo with science fiction. It's also blending the themes of The Count of Monte Cristo with science fiction. It influenced some of the greatest sci-fi works of all time, from The Expanse to Altered Carbon to Star Wars. It's about human potential, about how anger, pain, and suffering can fuel evolution. And yet, unlike Dune or Foundation, it's not as famous. But it should be. For years, people have tried to turn The Stars, My Destination into a movie or TV series, but it's never quite happened. Maybe it's too complex, maybe it's too dark, but one thing is certain. This is a book that demands to be read. So, if you love sci-fi, if you love cyberpunk, if you love raw, powerful storytelling, you owe it to yourself to read The Stars, My Destination. Because in the end, just like Gully Foyle, we're all searching for our place in the stars. Have you read The Stars, My Destination? What did you think of it? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more sci-fi deep dives.
Imagine a world where crime has evolved, where murder is nearly impossible, not because of surveillance cameras or AI, but because the police can read your mind. This is the world of a groundbreaking sci-fi novel by Alfred Bester, winner of the first ever Hugo Award in 1953. Today we're diving deep into its twisted story of crime, telepathy, and psychological warfare. Before we get into the story, let's talk about the man behind the book, Alfred Bester. Born in 1913, Bester wasn't just a sci-fi writer. He worked in radio dramas, comic books. Yes, he even wrote Green Lantern's famous Oath, and later became a magazine editor. But his true genius was in science fiction, where he mixed breakneck storytelling, deep psychology, and experimental writing techniques. His works influenced everything from cyberpunk to modern thrillers. And it's a sci-fi detective story with a twist, because in this future the best detectives don't need clues. They read minds. Welcome to the 24th century. Humanity has evolved beyond simple speech. Telepathy is now real. These mind readers, called espers or telepaths, are classified into different levels. First-class espers can read deep into your subconscious, while lower-ranked ones can only skim surface thoughts. Thanks to the Esper Guild, society is carefully regulated, and with law enforcement full of telepaths, one thing has almost disappeared: murder. After all, how can you plan a crime if the police can sense your intentions? But one man dares to defy the system: Ben Reich, a ruthless business tycoon facing financial ruin. His rival, Cray DeCourtney, refuses a merger, pushing Reich to desperation. And in this world, business wars don't always stay in the boardroom. Reich makes a chilling decision. He must kill DeCourtney, but how do you commit murder in a world of telepaths? Reich devises a three-step plan: mental disguise. He hires a composer, Duffy Wygand, to create a hypnotic melody that loops in his mind, masking his true intentions from telepaths. Physical trickery. He uses a modified antique gun to avoid ballistics tracing and a flash bomb to disorient any psychic observers. The unforeseen witness. During the murder, DeCourtney's daughter, Barbara, accidentally witnesses the crime and goes into shock. Enter Lincoln Powell, an elite telepathic detective. He's certain Reich is guilty, but in this world, telepathy alone isn't enough. He still needs traditional evidence. And so begins a psychological game of cat and mouse. Reich goes on the run, using every trick he can to avoid capture. He even tries to silence Barbara, the key witness, but fails. Meanwhile, Powell works to unlock Barbara's lost memories, bringing back the horrifying truth she suppressed. Then, the final twist. Powell discovers something Reich himself never realized. DeCourtney wasn't just his rival, he was his father. And the murder? It was driven by deep psychological trauma, a subconscious need for revenge and self-destruction. In this world, there's no death penalty. Instead, criminals face demolition, a complete erasure of their personality, leaving only a blank slate to be rebuilt by society. It's not execution. But is it worse? And so, the once mighty Ben Reich is reduced to nothing. Justice is served, but in a world where the mind is everything, the price of crime is total annihilation. Why does this book still matter? Is more than just a crime story. It's a deep dive into psychology, power, and the nature of justice. It laid the groundwork for everything from two. Even today it makes us ask, if telepathy were real, could we ever truly be free? So, have you read? Do you think telepathy would make the world safer, or just more dangerous? Let us know in the comments. And if you love sci-fi deep dives, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, keep exploring the unknown.
Imagine a world where winter never ends, where gender is not fixed, and where political intrigue is as treacherous as the frozen terrain. This is the world of The Left Hand of Darkness, a science fiction masterpiece by Ursula K. Le Guin. Published in 1969, this novel reshaped the genre, blending anthropology, philosophy, and politics in a way few had seen before. But who was Ursula K. Le Guin, and what makes this story so unique? Let's dive into the legendary world of Gethin. Ursula Kroeber Le Guin was born in 1929 and grew up in a household of intellectual giants. Her father, Alfred Kroeber, was a pioneering anthropologist, and her mother, Theodora Kroeber, was a celebrated writer. This academic upbringing shaped her fascination with cultures, languages, and human nature, elements that would define her writing. Le Guin wasn't just a sci-fi writer, she was a literary force, blending myth, anthropology, and feminism into thought-provoking narratives. At its core, The Left Hand of Darkness is a story of discovery, both literal and philosophical. The novel follows Zhenli Ai, an envoy from the Ekmen, a coalition of human-inhabited planets sent to the icy world of Gethen. His mission? To convince the Gethenians to join this interstellar collective. But Gethen is unlike any other world. Its people are ambisexual, neither male nor female, except for a short period when they can assume either role to reproduce. This fundamental difference forces Ai to question everything he thought he knew about identity, relationships, and communication. One of the novel's most compelling relationships is between Zhenli Ai and Estrevan, a Gethenian politician who helps him, sometimes at great personal cost. Initially, Ai struggles to understand Estrevan's motives and even sees him as an enemy, but as they embark on a dangerous journey across the frozen wilderness, Ai begins to grasp the deep complexities of Gethenian culture and Estrevan's selfless loyalty. Their relationship is not just about survival, it's about breaking barriers of perception and trust. The Left Hand of Darkness is not just a sci-fi novel, it's a meditation on gender, identity, and the nature of human connection. Le Guin challenges the reader to consider a world without rigid gender roles, and to question how language, culture, and politics shape our understanding of each other. It's a novel that defied conventions in 1969 and continues to influence discussions on gender and society today. Ursula K. Le Guin's work left an indelible mark on science fiction and fantasy. The Left Hand of Darkness won both the Hugo and Nebula Awards, cementing its place as one of the greatest sci-fi novels of all time. Its themes remain as relevant as ever, inspiring writers, filmmakers, and readers. So, if you're looking for a sci-fi novel that challenges the way you see the world, The Left Hand of Darkness is a must-read. It's more than a story, it's an exploration of what it means to be human. Have you read it? What are your thoughts? Let's discuss in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more literary explorations. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep reading. What if the future didn't lead us to a world of technological marvels, but instead pulled us back into the past? What if the collapse of civilization wasn't just a disaster, but a conscious choice? This is The World of the Long Tomorrow, a science fiction novel that paints a haunting picture of a post-apocalyptic America, not one filled with mutants or cyborgs, but one that has rejected technology entirely. Today, we dive into the story of Len Coulter, his forbidden dreams, and the echoes of destruction that shaped his world. And of course, we'll take a look at the brilliant mind behind this book, Lee Brackett, the queen of space opera, who helped shape modern sci-fi. Published in 1955, The Long Tomorrow is set in the aftermath of a nuclear war that destroyed the United States. But unlike many post-apocalyptic stories, this isn't a world struggling with radiation or monstrous creatures. Instead, it's a world where the survivors have deliberately abandoned modern technology, believing that progress itself led to destruction. In this new America, the law forbids settlements from growing beyond a small population. Cities, once the heart of civilization, are outlawed. Technology, seen as the root of all evil, is strictly controlled, and in this world, we meet our protagonist, Len Coulter. Len is a 15-year-old boy growing up in a strict religious community, but unlike the others, he has questions. He wonders about the lost world, about the forbidden technologies, and most of all, about Bartorstown, the mythical place where remnants of the old civilization supposedly still exist. Len and his cousin Esau aren't content with the simple life their families expect them to lead. They dream of something more. When they hear whispers of a hidden place where knowledge and technology have survived, their curiosity turns into obsession, and so, they set out on a journey, a dangerous one, through a world that does not tolerate those who question its way of life. The further they travel, the more they learn that the past is not so easily buried. Secrets lurk beneath the surface, and the line between right and wrong blurs. Is Bartor's town real? And if it is, does it hold salvation, or something far more terrifying? The Long Tomorrow isn't just a story about adventure, it's a reflection on humanity's struggle with technology, morality, and fear. Lee Brackett doesn't give us a simple dystopia. Instead, she asks difficult questions. Is technology truly the problem, or is it human nature? When society chooses safety over progress, what is lost in the process? The book explores the tension between those who embrace change and those who fear it. And in the end, it doesn't provide easy answers. It leaves us wondering, what would we choose if we were in Len's shoes? And behind this thought-provoking novel is a legendary name in science fiction, Lee Brackett. A woman ahead of her time, Brackett was known for her planetary adventure stories, often called space opera, long before the genre became mainstream. She wasn't just a sci-fi author, she also wrote screenplays including The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart, and even an early draft of The Empire Strikes Back. Her writing was cinematic, evocative, and deeply human, and The Long Tomorrow was one of her rare forays into earthbound, serious science fiction, proving that she could master any setting. Decades after its publication, The Long Tomorrow still resonates. In an age where technology advances faster than we can comprehend, the novel's core question remains: how do we balance progress with caution? If you're a fan of dystopian tales, philosophical questions, or just a gripping journey through a world unlike any other, The Long Tomorrow is a must-read. And if you've already read it, let us know. What did you think of Len's journey? Did he find what he was looking for, or was the past in some ways better left buried? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the greatest sci-fi stories ever told. Until next time, keep questioning, keep dreaming, and stay curious. Do you remember the books you read as a kid? The ones that made your imagination run wild? Maybe it was The Hobbit, A Wrinkle in Time, or Ender's Game. But do you remember the Tripods trilogy? If you do, you might recall a world where mysterious towering machines ruled over humanity, and teenagers were the last hope for resistance. If not, well, you're in for a treat. The Tripods trilogy was written by British author John Christopher, though his real name was Samuel Ude. Born in 1922, Christopher wrote many science fiction and dystopian stories, but The Tripods remains his most famous work. First published in the 1960s, these books have captured the imagination of young readers for decades. With its themes of rebellion, freedom, and identity, the series still holds up today, perhaps now more than ever. Imagine a world where giant three-legged machines, simply called tripods, rule over humanity. But they don't destroy cities or wage wars. No, they've already won. Humans live in a seemingly peaceful, almost medieval existence. Technology is gone, curiosity is discouraged, and at the age of 14, every child is capped, a metal implant placed onto their skull, ensuring they never question the rule of the tripods. Sounds eerie, right? Our story follows a young boy named Will Parker. He's almost 14, and soon it will be his turn to be capped. But when he meets a strange man who claims the tripods are not as benevolent as they seem, Will embarks on a dangerous journey beyond his village. Along the way, he's joined by his cousin Henry and a clever French boy named Jean-Paul, better known as Beanpole. Their goal, to find a secret resistance group hidden in the White Mountains, where free humans are still fighting against their alien overlords. At its core, the Tripods trilogy is about the struggle for independence, free thought, and the courage to resist control. The story takes us through breathtaking landscapes, treacherous cities, and hidden dangers. It's a coming-of-age tale wrapped in a dystopian sci-fi setting long before The Hunger Games or Divergent were even conceived. Though The Tripods isn't as widely discussed as some other classic sci-fi novels, its influence is undeniable. It was adapted into a BBC TV series in the 1980s, and even inspired later stories about alien invasion and oppressive control. Some even argue that The Tripods paved the way for modern young adult dystopian fiction. Did you grow up reading The Tripods, or is this your first time hearing about it? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more classic sci-fi explorations. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep imagining. In the wake of nuclear annihilation, civilization crumbles. Knowledge is lost, books burn, and the world is plunged into a new dark age. Yet, amid despair, a small group of monks dedicates itself to preserving the fragments of a lost past, guarding knowledge that could one day rekindle human progress. This is the world of A Canticle for Leibowitz, the 1960 science fiction classic by Walter M. Miller, Jr., a novel that has stood the test of time as one of the greatest explorations of history, knowledge, and human nature in the genre. But who was Walter M. Miller, Jr., and what makes this book so hauntingly relevant even today? Walter M. Miller, Jr. was not a typical science fiction writer. Born in 1923, he served as a bomber crew member during World War II, taking part in the infamous bombing of the Monte Cassino Monastery in Italy, a traumatic event that would later shape his most famous work. After the war, Miller struggled with post-war guilt, leading him to explore themes of destruction, faith, and the cyclical nature of history. He became a reclusive writer, publishing numerous short stories in the 1950s, before releasing his only novel, A Canticle for Leibowitz, in 1960. Despite its enormous success, Miller never published another book in his lifetime, and his story ended tragically in 1996, when he took his own life. But his legacy remains in his singular masterpiece, a book that continues to captivate readers and inspire deep philosophical discussions. The novel is divided into 3 sections spanning centuries, mirroring the real-world rise, fall, and rebirth of civilizations. Part 1, Fiat Homo, Let There Be Man. We begin 600 years after a nuclear apocalypse, in a world where knowledge is feared and destroyed. In the American Southwest, a monastic order, the Albertian Order of Leibowitz, has dedicated itself to preserving fragments of scientific knowledge. The monks, much like real medieval scribes, copy ancient texts, unaware of their full significance. A young novice, Brother Francis, discovers a fallout shelter containing relics of a man named Isaac Edward Leibowitz, a martyred scientist who sought to protect knowledge in the early days of the collapse. But in this new dark age, reason and progress are fragile, and the Church struggles against ignorance and superstition. Part 2, Fiat Lux, Let There Be Light. 600 years later, civilization begins to recover. Science is making a slow comeback and scholars debate long-lost discoveries. However, tensions between church and state grow as secular powers seek control over rediscovered knowledge. The monks continue to guard their texts, fearing that unrestrained technological progress could once again lead humanity to ruin. Part 3, Fiat Voluntas, Tua, Let Thy Will Be Done. Another 600 years pass, and humanity has once again achieved an advanced technological civilization, complete with space travel and nuclear weapons. But as history repeats itself, global tensions escalate and the world stands on the brink of another apocalypse. The Church prepares to send sacred knowledge off-world, hoping that, even if Earth falls once more, wisdom may survive among the stars. A Canticle for Leibowitz is more than just a post-apocalyptic novel. It is a meditation on history, the cycle of human progress and destruction, and the role of faith in preserving knowledge. It asks profound questions. Is technological advancement inevitable, even if it leads to destruction? Can humanity ever truly learn from its mistakes? What is the role of religion in a world dominated by science and war? Miller's vision is deeply pessimistic, yet strangely hopeful. Even as civilizations collapse, knowledge endures. There will always be those who seek to preserve wisdom, even in the face of oblivion. The novel remains a cornerstone of science fiction, often compared to works like Brave New World and 1984. It has influenced countless writers and remains hauntingly relevant in an age where nuclear threats, AI ethics, and the preservation of knowledge are more pressing than ever. Walter M. Miller Jr. may have only written one novel, Still, in A Canticle for Leibowitz, he captured the tragic beauty of human history, our endless struggle to learn, forget, and relearn. This book reminds us that knowledge is our greatest strength and our most dangerous weapon. What do you think? Does history truly repeat itself, or can we break free from this cycle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the greatest stories ever told. Thanks for watching, and remember, preserve the knowledge, for the future depends on it.